Going off that, how can we deal with peer pressure? Let's say there's a group of boys going to the masjid to read namaz, but one of them says, "Oh, let's go later. We can read our namaz later. There's a party happening here. Let's go down here instead." So how can we deal with peer pressure?
You know, on the day of judgment, it's stated on the day of judgment, a mother will run away from her own son, and a father will run away from his own daughter. Friends, best friends, friends. When I say friends, I mean very close brothers. You class each other as brothers. You will run away from each other on the day of judgment. Blood brothers in this world will run away from each other. They will be in need of good deeds. Now think of that, and now think of this world where you can what your actions are accounted for. You are in control of your what? Of your afterlife. Whether you do good, whether you do bad. So now it's that now I'm gonna say the statement. It's peer pressure is more of a case of how weak you are as a human, how weak you are as a Muslim.
Yeah.
If you fall into the trap of peer pressure, then you're a weak Muslim. You're a weak Muslim because you haven't controlled yourself into what? Into going and doing haram. As a Muslim, the number one thing that you are responsible is to control yourself into what? Committing haram. How you control yourself. Say like how Ibrahim, he gave the example of if your friends, they're going to namaz and then someone says that we'll read namaz later and go to the party. On the day of judgment, when that same friend tells you that we'll read it later and go to the party, will he be willing to give you his good deeds? Will he be willing to help you on the day of judgment? No, because he will be in need for himself of good deeds. On the day of judgment, the sun is going to be a mile away from your head. Muslims, people will be drowning in their own sweat. And you're telling me that you rather go to a party than read Salah. It's more of a case that how you control yourself and your desires.
But then what about if someone feels left out? How to deal with that?
I'll go back to my example of the day of judgment. Everyone's going to be left out on that day. When the sun is a mile away from your head, everyone's going to be left out.
True.
Everyone will be running away from everyone. Everyone will be worried on how will I enter Jannah. It is so warm. The floor is so warm. Everything, you're just panicking. Everyone is for themselves. It's like that saying that every man is for themselves. On the day of judgment, it is like that. Everyone is for themselves. So then, if you feel like you're being left out, remember that the people that are taking you to haram, they are being left out of attaining good deeds. You are the one that's running to good deeds, and they are the one that's behind you that are being left out on attaining good deeds. If you know that your friends are encouraging you to go to these places, number one, they are not your friends. They are not your friends, but rather they are biggest enemies. But rather they are biggest enemies. You might be asking me that how are they my biggest enemies? A true friend is that such friend that takes you to Jannah, takes you on the path to Jannah, that advises you when you are wrong, that tells you that we should do this, you should do this good. But you're telling me that your friends are telling you to go to haram, and I still class them as friends. Then there's something wrong there. The thing that is wrong that your friends are telling you to go to haram. Your friends are telling you to go to haram, but still you want to class them as your friends. That is what is wrong. Then you're in need to change you can say your company, your friends, because they're not true friends. From personal experience, if I had a friend that told me to go to haram, first of all, I would tell him I don't want to go. Why? Because I rather go to somewhere that is encouraging doing good deeds. Not only you go there and you learn something, but you also take good deeds like a mehfil. Or rather you stay home and you do something that you know that wouldn't get you to attain sins, bad deeds. It's more of a case, like I keep on saying, it's more of a case of self control.
Yeah, you can use that time getting closer to Allah, gaining good rewards.
Exactly. It's, you know, we all know, we've all got that guarantee that death will approach us. But
Yeah.
we don't know when death will actually, what time, when it will. We know it will come, but we do not know when it will come. So rather in spending your life so heedlessly in attaining sin, and like you're almost neglecting the fact that you're a Muslim. When I say this, I mean that you know that your ultimate goal is Jannah. You know that you're here for one purpose only, to worship Allah, to follow the Sunnah, to attain good deeds. But rather you know these facts, but instead of doing them, carrying out good deeds, you are spending your life in sin. You are spending your life in such a way that if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in front of you, you would feel shame. And ask yourself the question now. It's time for that, you can say, self accountability. Ask yourself, if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in front of you right now, will you be able to even stand there with so much sins in your account? Will you be able to even speak to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? That's a question that we should ask ourselves.